Welcome to CSS tutorial. Now let's learn what is CSS and why to use CSS. Whenever we get to know about some new concept, we always have the question, what is CSS and why should we use that concept, right? So first let's cover that two topics and then let's go to the examples. So in this tutorial or in this video, you will be taught about the CSS from the basics to the advanced. Okay. So first will be what is CSS. Okay, CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. CSS describes how HTML elements are to be displayed on the screen, paper, or on other media. Okay, and the next one is CSS saves lot of work. You can control the layout of multiple web pages all at once. External style sheets are stored in CSS files. So when someone asks you what is CSS, please do remember to say these 4 points. So first, the abbreviation, that is CSS is Cascading Style Sheet, and then it is used to display our web page as per our desire on screen, paper, or on other medias. It saves lot of work of the developer, and then the external style sheets are stored in CSS file. Now let's go to the next question, that is why CSS. So what is why? Why should we answer this question? When it comes to why, people always think that why should we use these new concepts? Why can't we use just the old ones, right? So for that we'll answer this question. Okay, so why CSS? That is the basic answer is to save our work and to make our website more and more attractive. CSS is used to define styles for your web pages, including the design, layout, and variations in display for different devices and screen sizes also. So what does this mean, different devices and screen size? So in each and every device, when you open a website, the size of the screen or the dimension of the screen is different, right? So CSS helps us to make our website in such a dimension or in such a way that it suits each and every dimension of each and every device, right? So why is this property is used in CSS? So I even say that. So in the older times, when you create a website, it was really very tough to create a website. And apart from that, when you create it and when you use it in many devices or when you try to see it in many dimensions, it's really very congested to just move or scroll it from here and there, up, down, left, right. So when this CSS property came, the size of the website or the dimension of the website changes as per the dimension or the size of the screen, right? So it is really very good so that it becomes more user friendly and the data present in the content present in the website will be more visible and more clear to understand. So this is the answer for the question why CSS. Okay, now even let's see some example related to it and understand the concept more in depth. Okay, so I am in basic HTML body over here or the format over here. So now I will show you some examples related to the CSS and then we will even go on with further things. Okay, so first let's see a simple example. So for that I'm going to make use of two tags for just abbreviating or explaining you the CSS concept. So first tag I'm going to use is the add tag. In this I will write, this is my CSS demo line. Okay, and the second tag which I'm going to use is the paragraph tag. Okay, in this I'll write this. Okay, so I'm going to give some properties to the body, the p tag as well as the add tag with the help of the CSS. So in CSS there are 3 levels, that is the inline, then the internal, then also the external. So now what is this inline, what is this internal, what is this external? I will teach you or I will explain you with some example. For time being we'll just learn this simple one. So for that I'm going to now use an internal style. Okay, so I'll really explain you with another example and in more depth. Okay, so for time being, take it as an example. So for that I'll make use of the style tag inside the edge section. Okay, please note this, I'm going to make use of the style tag inside the edge section. So now for the what should I write as the first? So you should always write the tag name for which tag are you going to give some extra or the additional CSS property. So for first I'm going to give some additional property to the body tag. So you should write the tag name as body. Okay, do not have the close or opening or the closing anchor tags. Okay, you just need to write the name of the tag. Okay, that's it, body, and I will have in curly braces. Inside this I will write the CSS properties or colors or designs which I want to give to my website. Background color, and I will write it as light blue. Okay, so what does this mean? The body tag in our website will be given the color light blue. Okay, so the light blue will be the background for our website. So the second thing or the second tag which I'm going to give some styles is the h1 tag. So I'll write the tag name h1, the curly braces. Now I'm going to give some color to the text present in the h1 tag. The text is my CSS demo line. So I'm going to give some color to this my CSS demo line. So I'll write color, let me give it as white. By default the color of any element or of any tag will be black, so I'm changing the color from black to white. And now I will write some alignment. I'll give some alignment to this text. So text align center. So now why I'm giving this? So as I said, by default the color of the text will be black. In the same way, by default any content of our website will be aligned to the left. So I'm giving some alignment and I'm telling that from left please move towards the right. Okay, so this is the two properties which I'm giving for the ed tag. Now let's go for the p tag. Now for p tag I'm going to give some font family for the text present in the p tag and some font size. So font, let's give font family. I'm going to give it as Arial, and the font size for this is 20 pixels. Okay, so now when we done this, the background color for our website will be of light blue because I've given some property for the body, right? And the heading will be in white and it will be in the alignment center, and the text present in the p tag will be in Arial family and it will be of 20 pixels. Now let's save this and run it. See, I got it, right? So okay, from the left it has been shifted to right, center, and the color of the text is in white, and the paragraph is being given in Arial format or the Arial font family, and it's in 20 pixels. So even now I can shift this to the center as well. Okay, so let me turn it or shift it to center. I'll write text align center. Okay, so let's see the output now. See, even now this is turned to center. Okay, so I will even show more examples within other content. Okay, so there are many contents as I told you, from basics to advanced. So in each and every content I will show you some of the new examples and I will explain you the CSS in more depth. So for time being, give this example for a small basic CSS. Okay, now let's go to the next topic, that is the level of CSS. Okay, levels. Okay, not level, levels of CSS. So there are three levels of CSS. The first one is the inline, the second one is the internal, and the third one is the external. Now what is this inline, what is this internal, and what is this external? I will explain you and I will even show you some example related to it. So let's first go for inline. So inline is basically written in the element itself or in the opening tag. So for example, h1 is my tag, okay, and this is the closing tag of h1, right? So in inline I will write it in the opening tag itself with the help of the attribute style. Okay, I just need the attribute style and I will write it in the opening tag itself. Okay, so this is inline because I'm just giving it in one inside the opening tag, and the second reason for giving the name as inline is that this style will only be for this h1 tag. For example, if there is multiple h1, okay, so in this there is no style, okay, but here the style is there, so that style will be only applied for this h1 tag. It will not be applied for the next or the one which is in the previous, for none of the other h1 tag. So now let's write what is learn what is internal. So when it comes to internal, I just showed you an example. I made use of a style tag inside the head section, right? So making use of a style tag inside the head section is internal. So what is the difference between the inline and the internal? Okay, now let's see that. Now what I told in inline, that if I'm giving an style for this first h1 tag, then the style will be applied for only that tag, right? But it doesn't matter whether there's another h1 or n number of h1. It doesn't see anything. The tag which is having the style attribute, the only that tag will have that style. But when it comes to internal, it will not give style for just one of the h1. For example, I gave h1 style inside the style. I have given the h1. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, let's take it like this. Okay, inside the style, I'm going to give some styling for the h1 tag. Okay, so in the curly braces, so I'm going to write border, or let's give it as text align. Okay, so now what I'm telling, that each and every h1 tag present in the web page should be aligned to center. Over here, it will not just give this alignment to just any one of the h1 tag, but even if there is 10 h1 tags present in the web page, then all the 10 will be aligned to center. But when I told about the align one, the tag which is having the style attribute, only that tag will be given that attribute. So if, for example, I'm saying here text align center. Okay, so only the content in this h1 tag will be aligned to center, but the contents in this h1 tag or the upcoming ones will be in the left, because by default the text is aligned to left, right? So will be in the left. But when it comes to internal, all the h1 tag, let it be both. Okay, both of them without. Okay, so like this, if it's like this, so and then both the h1 tags, or let it be any number of h1 tags, all will be aligned to the center. Okay, so this is the difference between the inline and internal, the meaning of internal. Okay, now let's go for external. So first thing in external, it's an external file. That's the reason it is told as external. So for that, we will save an CSS file in the same path or in any other path, but in an external folder. So for example, let's take the CSS name as external. Okay, and this file will be saved with .css extension. Okay, for why is it known as external? Because it doesn't have any meaning, or there's no code inside the web page. It is an external document or external folder, which is sorry, it's actually a document with the name external.css. So this external.css folder will be linked in the web page for which we are going to give the designs. Okay, now what's the difference between this external and the internal and the inline? So when it comes to inline, it just gives the property or the designing to one tag in which the style attribute specified, right? And when it comes to internal, it will give the style to all the tags or all the h1 tag, right? It will not see whether it's in first, second, last, nothing. And when it comes to external, each and every file in which, or each and every file in which this document is linked, that all files will be given an CSS property or styling. Okay, so this can be linked with n number of files. Okay, CSS is really told, while explaining about the CSS, I told you it is made to control n number of files, right? That's the reason here. Okay, this external will control n number of files. Only one external file, this one external file can be linked with n number of HTML documents. Okay, just giving you can link it with the help of just this link tag. It is already taught to you in the HTML, right? So with the help of this link tag, we can link this external.css file. So this link tag, we can use it in any HTML document. So in any HTML document, in n number of documents, this external can be used. Okay, so this is all about the meaning. Now let's even see examples. So first, let's go with this. So as I told you, I will create some other tag. Okay, and I will give an expression. So let's take this as div tag. Okay, I'm so sorry, let's go for div tag. Okay, so okay, this is already an internal, right? I will even explain you with this again. Okay, so now let's create another tag, div. Okay, inside this I will write this is a div tag, that is a division tag. So now what is inline? Inside the opening tag I will write style is equals to, now I want to give some border. Okay, so border of 1 pixel, let me give it as solid with color as red. So now this content, or this is a div tag content, will be inside a box of border 1 pixel solid red. So let's save this and run this. See here, this is a div tag, it's under a red color box, right? So we this is a complete line. If you notice this, it's a continuous line, so we can even make this as dotted, dashed and all. So I will even show you that. So now it's solid, right? Now I'll change it to dotted. Okay, now see the line has become dotted, right? So the third one which we can use is also dashed. Dashed. Okay, this is of 1 pixel, right? The line is, or the dash or dot, whatever it is, it's of 1 pixel of color red. Now I will give it as dashed, right? So it became a dash. So what I'm doing here, I'm giving the style to just this div tag. So now let's create another div tag. I'm writing this is div tag 2. Okay, now let's run this and see. There's no styling which is given to the div tag 2. Why so? Why so? See here, I told you an example of inline, right? So when it comes to inline, I'm just giving the style attribute for this tag only, this div tag only, but I have not given any style for this div tag. So only this div will be given some CSS properties like the border, dash, red and all, but this will not be given anything. But if I specify something here, then even that will be given something. Let me give border, border 2 pixel. I will give it as solid and let me give it as green. Okay, now let's run this. This is the difference, right? So when I gave it for the first tag, the style which was given for the first div, we saw it in the output. Now I've even given some style for the second div, so this is the output, right? So I've given as 2 pixels and it's in a solid box and it's of green color. So this is inline. Now let's see what is internal. Okay, now for seeing this internal, we'll just remove this. Okay, and I'll give the properties for div tag in this style. I've already mentioned you, for internal we'll make use of the style tag inside the head section, right? So it's inside the head section and inside the style tag. So for giving an internal style to any of the tag, we'll type the tag name, so div. Okay, now in this I will give some border. Okay, border of 1 pixel dotted, and the color will be, we can't give blue, right? So let's give black. See, now what will be the output is that both of these div will have the border of 1 pixel and the border will be of dotted borders and it will be of black color. Okay, let's save this and let's run this. See, both of them got it. Let's give a break in between so that the output will be more clear. Here, both are given the same style. So I have told you, right, giving an style in the internal, as in the internal level. So when I gave the div tag, it will just give this style to all the div that is present. It will not say that no, I will just give it to this tag or this tag. So you can even say that this may be a drawback, right? Because you wish that each and every div tag should be of same format, but only one div should be of some other format. So we can even do that. See, I'll have another div tag. Okay, so I'll say this is special div tag. Okay, now when we see the output, all the three have got the same styling. Okay, let me give a break. Okay, now I just want to give some other style to this special tag. So inside this I will write style is equals to, let me write it as border of 2 pixel, and already we have given it as dotted, right? So let me give it as solid, and now let's give the color as red. So now in the output, only this div tag will be of 2 pixel border of solid format and of red color. Okay, let's save this and run this. So you may ask, So is it getting overlapped or something, right? So what is happening here, when we run the file, it always gets started executing from the top. So from the top, when it gets executing, so the first, all the div tags will be in this format only. So then it came to the h1 tag, then the p tag, then it will even come to this div tag, right? So when it came to this div tag, it saw the style attribute. So it came to know that okay, something else is happening or some other styling is given here, then it will change it to here. So first each and every div will be in this format, and then if you're giving some attribute in the middle, it will be overlapped or it will just replace this style in that. Okay, so you got the process, right? From up to down it comes. So whatever is in the first internal, that will get executed, and then the inline will get executed for this example. Okay, so this is internal and inline. Now let's go for external. For external, we are supposed to create a new file. So let me save this file as external.css. Please do remember to save with this extension, that is .css. Okay, now I will create some other tag. So now let's create what tag should we create now? Okay, let's create an article tag. Okay, in this article tag, I'm going to write this is a article of the website. Okay, now I'm going to give some properties to this article tag in this external or in the other CSS file. Okay, so article. Okay, so what should we give for this article? Let us give the color to be in green. Okay, and let's give a border of 1 pixel and let it be in solid, and let's this color be in black. Okay, now I'm just changing the content of the article as color to green and giving it a border of solid black. Okay, now how will this run, or how will this work? You may ask, right? This is an external file. How it is getting linked? So I have already mentioned we'll make use of a link tag, right? So making use of a link tag in the head section. Okay, let me write. I write the link tag. Okay, see here the rel will be style sheet because external CSS, that is external cascading style sheet, and the type will be text or CSS, and here I will write the name of the file. So what's my CSS, external CSS as well as the index.html, both are in the same path. So I'll just write the name of the file, but if you are saving in some other folder, please write the full path. So now the file is linked, right? Now automatically the article will be changed. See, this is an article. It's in the green color with the black color border and with solid line. Let's change that so that we'll be able to see it properly. So make it as green, and I'll even give some background color. What can we give it as red? Okay, let's save this. Okay, and let's give a break here so that the output will be really very visible enough. Break. Okay, now let's run this. So the content in the article tag is in green color. Okay, and the border is of 1 pixel and it's of a solid border with green color as for the border also, and the background is turned to red. Okay, so with the help of the link tag in the head section, we have linked the external tag. So all the properties in the external tag will be inherited, right? So with the help of that external, this CSS is given an style. So here I have shown you the examples for inline, internal, and as well as the external. Okay, now let's go to the next one, that is the CSS rules. Okay, now what is the CSS rules? Okay, a CSS rule set consists of selector and declaration. Okay, the CSS rule set the CSS rule sets consists of the selector and the declaration. Okay, in this, what is the selector? Selector is nothing but it points to the HTML element you want to style. So let's take the example of h1. So here the selector is the h1 tag or the element. So basically, what is an element? element is something which has an opening tag, a closing tag, and some content between these both, that is the opening and the closing tag. So that is the element. So here let's take the element or the selector as the h1, and the declaration box contains one or more declarations separated by semicolons. Okay, each declaration includes a CSS property, name and a values, and it is separated by a colon. Okay, and a CSS declaration always ends with a semicolon, and declaration box are surrounded with the curly braces. So now we saw these examples, right? So now here let's take this as the element. Okay, so here what is it happening? The div is the selector, right? So the declaration basically means the declaration divided into main two parts. One is the CSS property. So here CSS property is the what is this, border, and the value is 2 pixels solid red, right? This is the actual formatting rule for declaration. And we even saw the third one point which I said, curly braces. Here it's always surrounded with the curly braces. So here the body is the selector, this is the CSS property, and this is the value, and it is always surrounded with the curly braces. So see, this is the CSS rule. Okay, so this CSS rule is really mandatory to make the CSS file, CSS formatting or CSS styling to work. So here, so when it comes to here the curly braces is mandatory, right? So here this greater and equal sign or greater and smaller than signs, this is equal, right? So, and second important thing is it's in this inline, it is always covered or surrounded with the inverted commas. So there it was starting and ending with a curly brace, right? So here it's starting and ending with the inverted commas. So the second thing which is mentioned here, the declaration, as I told, it's divided in two parts, right? The one is the CSS property and then is the value. So these CSS and the name both are separated with the help of this this colon, right? So if I want to give some other functionality or some other styling, then I have to put a semicolon and then start something other. So something else. So background color as give me it as white. Okay, so the second one, so the second again starts with the CSS property and the value, right? These both properties are segregated or separated with this semicolon, and please keep this in mind. These are the programming practices. This should always end with a semicolon. Okay, please do keep this in mind. So this is the CSS rule set. Okay, I will repeat it again. CSS rule set consists of the selector as well as the declaration block. Okay, the declaration block is again separated in two, that is the CSS property and the value. So segregation of the CSS property and the value is made with the help of this colon, and the segregation or the separation of two different properties is made with the help of this semicolon, and this CSS declaration should always end with a semicolon. Please don't forget, these are the basic programming practices, as well as these should be mandated, because without this colon or without the selector you can't give some CSS property also. Okay, now let's talk about the topic CSS selectors. The CSS selectors are used to find or select the HTML element you want to style. The CSS selectors are further divided into 5 categories. The first one is the simple selectors. Okay, and the second one is the combinator selectors. The third one is the pseudo class selectors. Okay. The fourth one is the pseudo elements selector. Okay. And the fifth and the last one is the attribute selectors. So today we are going to talk about these 5 selectors. Okay, so I'll give you the simple definitions of what are these selectors, and then I'll even show you some examples. So the first one is the simple selector. This selects elements based on their name, ID and the class. In this I would even like to add some other 2 selectors. The first one is the universal selector and the second one is the grouping selector. Okay, so in this simple selector topic we'll study about these 5. Okay. When we go for the combinator selectors, it selects elements based on the specific relationship, okay, between them. Okay, and the third one is the pseudo class selectors. This selects elements based on the certain state. And the fourth one is the pseudo elements selector. This selects and styles a part of an element. Okay, and the last one is the attribute selector. It selects elements based on the attribute or attribute value. I'm so sorry. Okay, so let's see some examples as well as the explanation for this. So when I go for the first, that's a simple selector. It is for the divided in 5 parts, right? So the first one is the name selector. Now what is this name? When I tell about this name basically means the tag name. In the examples which I have shown you prior, we just make use of the tag name like body or div or p or just the let's take it as h1, right? So those are the selectors or those are the name, right? So that are the name of the tag, right? So that is name selector. Now let's talk about this topic, CSS selectors. So the CSS selectors are used to find or select the HTML elements you want to style. We can divide the CSS selectors in 5 categories. The first one is the simple selector. Okay. The second one is the combinator selector. Okay. The third one is the pseudo class selectors. Okay. The fourth one is the pseudo element selectors. Okay. And the fifth and the last one is the attribute selector. Okay, so we are going to talk about these 5 selectors now with some examples as well as some definitions or where are they used. Okay, so simple selector selects elements based on their name, ID and the class. Okay, so in this I would even like to add some other 2 your selectors, that is the universal selector and then the grouping selectors. Okay, so simple selectors are really selected with the help of these, but this universal and grouping selector are also a part of simple selectors only. These are the selectors. Okay, so separate selectors actually, but even these 2 are also simple ones. So we'll cover all the 5 types of selectors in this simple selectors itself. Okay, the first one is the name. So in this name, it's basically just giving the tag name. Okay, so there's no need of any other extra thing in this. So I think we even saw in the previous example, right? So we just need to write the tag name in this place, and there is no need for using any other tag or any other special characters like that. So you just need to give the name of the tag. So let's take the name as P. That's a P tag. So in the example we even saw, we'll write the tag name and then the curly braces. That's it. So this is the most simplest selector, that is the name selector. And the next one is the ID selector. Now what's this ID? ID selector are uniquely identified with this one special character, that is hash. So when you write this ID selector, you should always make use of this hash and then followed by the ID name. So now let's take the example ID name as first. Okay, so what will happen in this ID selector when it's talking about the pay tag? I've already told you, it means that it will give the property which is inside this curly braces to all the p tag that is present in the web page, right? And now when it comes to the ID selector, this means that some or the other element will be given us ID name inside the attribute ID. So in such a place, we will make use of this selector. For example, the p tag is given an ID as first. So to access or give some properties to that tag, we will make use of the ID and also known as the ID selector. So for that, we'll first write the special character, that is the hash, and followed by the ID name. Okay. So and then it will be same inside the curly braces, we'll write the property. Okay. Okay, so now what was the difference? This property in this p tag, all the p tag present will be given this property, but here only that tag or element will be given the properties present over in this part, which is having the id as first. Okay, now let's go to the third one, that is the class selector. So now what's the class selector? As we add an hash in the id, we have one special character, that is the dot for class. This tells that this is a class name. Okay, so this dot and then it should be followed by the class name. Now let's take the class name as last. Okay, so now we'll give some property also, right, in the curly braces. Now what will happen, right, that the property which is given in this curly braces will be only applicable to that tag or that element which has the class name as last. Okay, so it will search for the tag which has the class name as last, and that tag or that element will be given the property which will be present inside this curly braces. Okay, and the fourth one is the universal. When it comes to universal, here we'll make use of just one special character, that is the star. That's it. You don't need to follow it with some name or anything. Why? Because when you see the last three selectors which I told you, this will give these properties which is present inside the curly braces, so only some part of the website. But when it comes to universal selector, this star means that the whole. Okay, so the properties which is given inside this curly braces will be given to the whole website. The whole website will be considered as one, and the whole website will be given this property. But when it was about the name or the id or the class, only that attribute or only that element or that tag with the name as p or the id as first or the class as last will be given that property, right? That was the main thing in that. But in the universal, all the elements, all the tags, that will be anything in the website, the full website will be given this property. This is about the universal. So now let's see the next one, that is the grouping. Now what's the difference in this? Okay, so now here see we gave some properties to the p tag and some properties to the id which as first. Okay, or the some other tag which has the id as first. Now if I want to give the same property for the p tag as well as the another one that is with the id first, then what will I do? So let's take an example. So in the p tag there is some content, as well as in the div tag which is having the id as the same content. Okay, so for me I want to give both of them, or the div as well as the p tag, both the tags should have the same property, that is the content inside them should be in the center and the color of the content should be in red. For that, this is just the two properties, and these two properties are common or same for both the tag. Then I will write it like this: div comma p, and then inside the curly braces I will write the property. So what does this mean? That both the tags are given the same properties. So in spite of writing like this separately, div, then the curly braces, and then the p, then curly braces, and then the properties, in spite of writing it separately, we are just separating it with the help of this comma, that this is one tag and this is one tag. Okay, with the help of this comma we are just separating it, and we are saying that both the tags need the same property. Okay, so it's making the grouping function. So whichever tags or whichever elements want have the same properties can be brought together with help like this, and can be separated with the help of a comma and said that they want the same property. Okay, this is all about the simple selector. Okay, now let's see examples for the simple selector. Okay, we'll start with the name, then we'll go for the id, then class, then the universal, as well as the grouping also. Okay, let's go. So for doing with name, I will have a paragraph tag. This is a paragraph. Okay, so now I'm going to give some styling for this paragraph tag inside the style. Okay, style tag. Okay. And now I'm going to give. Okay, now what's going to happen here is, even if I have 2 or 3 paragraph tags, all the paragraphs or the p tag will be given this styling. So let's give me some styling. Okay, then the center, and then I'll give the color as red. Okay, so I will even. Okay, so now let's even have some other p tag also, so that output will be more clear for you. Okay, and the paragraph 2. Okay, now let's run this. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, see, so now what's there? This is a paragraph for simple selectors also there, as well as this is a paragraph 2 for simple selectors also there, with the same color, and it's aligned in the center. Okay, now let's make use of the attribute id. So I'm going to give id over here. Okay, is equals to, let me give it as para 2. Okay, so, and I'll even give some style over here. So for giving style with the help of id, I have told you we should make use of the special character hash and then the id name. Okay, so inside this I'll write text align left and color as. Okay, now this paragraph or this para or this tag or this element, it will be anything, will be given the alignment as left. Okay, left is by default, right? So let's give it as right. Okay, will be given the alignment as right and the color will be of blue, and this will be in red with the alignment as center. Okay, let's save this and let's run it. Okay, so this is the difference. Okay, so if you have n number of paragraph tags and with only one with the id, and we are doing this, then rest all of the paragraph tags will be given this property only. Okay, so now let's go for the next one, that is the class. Okay, we'll again create a paragraph tag and give the attribute class is equals to, let us give the name as para 3. Let's again copy paste this. Okay, and I'll give it as para 3. So now what will happen here? See, I've given some alignment or from some designing factors for p tag as well as for the id. Okay, now we'll give some for class. So for giving styles for class, we are going to make use of the special character dot followed by the class name, that is para 3. Okay, so now we'll give some styling over here also. Now let's give a border. Okay, border with 1 pixel and a solid, and let's give the color as we have already red, blue. Let's give it as green. Okay, now let's run this. So now what will be the output is that this will be having an border of 1 pixel solid green. Okay, let's save this and let's run it. Okay, so we got it. And now here, now why you may ask, why is it in red and why is it not in left as it's by default? Now what is happening here is, I have already explained you that it will start from the top. So from the top, first all of them are given the color as red and the all are aligned to center. Okay, so first this will get executed and then it's seeing for the id, right? So first id, so then it will search for this id, so it got over here, then it will change this to color red blue, and it will be aligned to right. So it was aligned, right? Now the next one is, it is having a class operator, right, or class select. Then it will search for the tag which is having the class. So now it will select this and it will give a border. So when it is giving a border, rest all functionalities of giving it as a center and red will remain same, right? But when it was about here, the two properties which were here has been overlapped with some other, right? Now the center has become as right and the red has become as blue, so it's just totally different, right? But when it come to here, some additional is added, but the already which is existing, that is the designing for paragraph, is yet there, right? So it is adding this border style to it with the already given style, that is the color as red and the alignment as center. Okay, this is for that. Now what's left, that is the universal. For giving this universal, we are supposed to take off each and everything. So what we'll do is, we'll just remove these things. Okay, okay, and even we'll remove. Okay, now there's 3 this. I'll even give some other tag like okay, let's give div tag. This is a div tag. Okay, now we are going to give same property for all the 4 tags. Okay, so I'll make use of the special character, that is the star, and inside the curly braces I will write color as red, text align as, let's give it as left, oh sorry, right, because left is by default. Okay. And border as 1 pixel solid black. Okay, now let's run this. See, each and everything got a border. Okay, so even the body got a border, right? Yeah, because we are giving it for the whole body, right? So even the body got the border, and then even the paragraphs and as well as the div got the border. All the tag contents is shifted to left and all are in red color. Okay, so this is all. And now grouping. Okay, now we come to grouping. So let's remove this. Okay, so now let's not just add these, but we'll have even other tag, article. Okay, this is a article tag. Okay, now I just want to give some of the other properties for this both only. Okay, so I'll write like this: div comma article. Okay, so I'm going to give a common property for these both tags. Now I'll write text align. Now I will go to left. Okay, and then only for this I'm going to give a border, right? So of 2 pixel dotted, and it will be of green. Okay, now let's run this. Only both the tags will have the text aligned to the left as well as the border of 2 pixel dotted green. Okay, I will save it. See, okay, hope you got this. Okay, now let's go to the next one, that is the combinator selectors. Okay, a combinator selector is something that explains the relationship between the selectors. Okay, so this combinator selectors are of 4 different types. The first one is descendant selector, and this is denoted by space. Okay, so how and why and everything I'll explain you with a simple example. So let's have a div tag. Okay, inside that I will write a p tag. In this I'll write this is a paragraph 1 in the div tag. Okay, now let's copy this and let's paste this. Okay, and write, then again we'll write 3. Okay, now I'll give some style in this style. Now the descendant comes here, div and then a space and then a p. Okay, and now the styling property which I'm going to give here will be applied to this paragraph. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to give text align as center and color as red. Okay, now see, now I'll run this. Okay, we got this as the output. So that doesn't mean that it should be separated p. Okay, now I can even write this in a section, and inside that I will have a p tag. Okay, and let's copy paste. Okay, 4. Now let's run this. See, even in this we are getting this as the output. Okay, but in the selectors which are going to come after this, when it is in the section, there will be no output search for the p tag. Okay, now why even this p tag got that effect? Because now the descendant is denoted by space, but I didn't tell you what is actually a descendant. So this is the specified tag, and this tag is descendant, or this is the descendant of that specified tag, right? So this is a parent-child relationship. This is parent, this is child, and now we are seeing that the child as well as all the descendant tags of that child will be given the same style property. So the section tag as well as the p tag, all the both are given the same property for it. Okay, now let's go to the second one, that is the child selector. Okay, the child selector is denoted with the help of the special character, that is the greater than sign. Now what is this child? and let's see an example for it. Now this is an descendant. Okay, I have told you this is a descendant, but this section is the descendant but not a child, right? Okay, so when I see here, I have already told you that this is the parent and this is the child. So that is the what we are going to do in this child selector. But in this, for descendant we given space, right? So now we given greater than child. Now what is this? This is parent. This sign denotes that this is parent and this is child. So now when we execute the output, let's see what is the output. Okay, see. Here we are not able to see any style tag or any style which is given to the paragraph 4. But you may ask, why in the previous one we got the output? Yes. Why? Because this was the descendant. Okay. So even that was considered. The basic concept of descendant is the tag. So the basic concept is that this was the specified tag, right? So that specified as well as the descendant tags present in this tag, div tag will be giving that style property, right? But now we are just considering about the parent-child relationship. So this is the parent and this is the child. So when it gets executed from top to bottom, it will see P. So this 3 are executed. So when it comes to here section, so is this section mentioned here that even this is a parent? Sorry, this is a child? No. So it will not execute this section. Okay, that's the difference between here. So in descendant, this was a descendant, so even that got executed, because of which the paragraph tag inside that descendant also got executed. But when it comes to parent and child, this P is a child, but this section is not a child as per its condition, right? So this is denoting that this is parent and this is child. We are not denoting something else as child. So this will omit, or this condition or this selector will omit this section part. Sibling selector. Okay. And it is denoted with the help of a plus sign. Now the adjacent sibling selector selects all the elements that are the adjacent siblings of a specified element. So in our case, or in our example, this P is the adjacent, it's the specified element. Okay, so the sibling elements must have the same parent element, and adjacent means immediately following. Okay, so what is a sibling element? These all three paragraphs are the sibling elements because they all three have a single parent class, that is the div. Okay, so these three are siblings. Now what is adjacent? So adjacent means immediately coming after the div tag. So let's take a P tag. Okay, this is a paragraph. Okay, adjacent div tag. Okay, so this is extremely adjacent. Okay, it is immediately coming after the div tag. So now let's see the output. Okay, see now. Okay, I did some mistake here. See, we have not mentioned the plus sign over here. Okay, please don't do these mistakes. Okay, so see, let's see, save it and see the output now. Yeah, see now tags are not given any property, but this the fifth tag, or this is the adjacent tag, is given the style property, which is mentioned in the style tag. Why? Because as the condition or the definition itself says that the adjacent tag, that is which is adjacent or which comes immediately after the div tag or the parent tag, will be getting that style. So this is really very adjacent or really very immediate after the div tag. So now let's have another P tag. This is a paragraph. Okay, adjacent to P tag. Okay, so now what's here? See, now let's see the output and I'll tell you what's happening over here. See, the were not applied anything, so if this got an adjacent, so you may even ask, even this is adjacent, right? No. Is that immediately one which is appearing is the adjacent one, right? So this P tag is the one which is immediately appearing or next to the div tag or after the div tag. This is after this P tag, so this is adjacent to p tag but not this div tag. That's the reason this got the style, but this p tag got the style, but this p tag didn't got any style of the style property or CSS property. Okay, now let's go to the fourth one, that is general, and this is denoted by. So what is this? A general sibling selector selects all elements that are siblings of a specified element. So the only difference here, see, now let's first run this and see what is it. Okay? See this. What happened over here? It just this field has got executed, right? Why? The association tag to the div tag, right? Now we are going to write an general sibling. So now what's a general sibling? So for this, all the three tags are general siblings, right? But what does the mean? What is the meaning of general siblings? Siblings is that the ones after this div tag. Okay. So now in this I'll give like this, right? Okay. Now I'm just stating that these are the general. I'm going to pick up the general siblings for this. So when it comes as a general sibling, it will not always pick the one before the div tag. Okay. So if suppose there is an paragraph tag over here. Okay. So now this is not the general sibling, but the p tags followed by the div tag. We talked about the adjacent. We just told that this is only the adjacent, right? So none of the others or the below this p tag is not any adjacent tags, right? But now when it comes about a when it comes about general sibling selector, the tags followed by the div tag, and especially it should be of the p tag itself. Okay, so if suppose there is another tag, let's take it as a code tag. Okay, now this is not a general sibling. Okay, what is a sibling? Actually of a same parent or of same type, right? So when p means only it will select the p tag which is followed or which is after the div tag. Okay, so if now here there are two there are two p tags, right? So this means that this div tilde p, okay, tilde, that it's a general sibling operator, right? So when this means that it will always see a div tag and then it will search for the p tag which is followed by the div tag. Okay, so followed in the sense not only the first one but the followed throughout the website till the end. So now let's see. Now we will not see any style for this or neither. Oh, so sorry. Neither this, and now you will not even be able to see any output for this also. Okay, please note this point. You will not be seeing any output or any style for this also, because this is in child parent. This comes in child parent, so this will be the parent, and here, so, and even the siblings for the siblings, these are the siblings. Now this is the topic of general siblings. So apart from these tags, okay, so the rest two p tags will have this style. Okay, now let's save this and then run this. See, we just add the two tags which are after the div tag. So the paragraph adjacent to the p tag. Okay, so these two got the style. So this is the meaning of the general sibling. Okay. Okay, now let's go to the next topic, that is the pseudo class selectors. A pseudo class selector is used to define a special state of an element. Okay, let's just mention that. Special state of an element. Okay, so this is mainly used for giving a style and for giving style for an element when a user moves over it, or when the style giving a style when the link is visited or it's unvisited or something, when it gets a focus right there. So in this place, I would like to links that are present in the website. Okay, if you have seen some links, like if while clicking on a link you'll go to some other page or something like that. So if you see that link, as soon as you see, or the first time you or some other time, or the first time when you visit the website, it will be in a blue color, for example. Okay, so as soon as you click on it and you visit the next document, the link color changes to some other from the blue. Okay? Now let's take it, the old one of the blue, and now it is changed to red. So in that such places, or when if you take your mouse over to some content or some text or some link, the color or some other property gets focused or gets out, right? So in that places, this pseudo class selector plays a role. Okay, now I'll show you an example also. Okay, let's give an by default the color of the link is blue, as we all know. Okay, so when let's click it. Okay, so I clicked and I've linked the Google page, right? So now the link has become visitor. Okay, the state of the link is being known as the visitor one. Okay, now let's go back to the code. Now I'll give some style properties over here. Okay, so in this I'll write a, that is the anchor tag, and later then the color should change to why so? Because before clicking it, the state of the link will be unvisited, and as soon as I click the link, it will become as visited. So once it is visited, it is visited permanently, right? So in such places, the color will change automatically. Okay, you don't need to even visit it again. So you can even do it for H-over. For this, I'll write color, and let me. When I take the mouse over this, the color will turn to green. See, it's turning, right? So this is the H-over. Please note that so it should be like first a link, then the visitor. If you're giving some all the properties, then a link, then a visitor, and then A means the anchor. Okay, then H-over, and then even you can give it for active and all. Okay, so please note this, it should be always after visitor, so not before that. Okay, don't forget that. So this was the simple example for that. So there are many like this. Okay, you can even give the first child property for this. Okay, so you can just give like this. Okay, I'll write something else. I'll do a p tag over here. Now here the p tag is the first child for the body tag. So on that basis also I can give some properties. Then I will type first, and then I'll give the color for the first, and then I'll give it as blue. Okay. Okay. This is it. This first child property will give styling to only the first child of the web page. Okay, so it's not given any styling to here. So even if we add some tag over here, now this will not be given any kind of properties. See, this is in the default only, that's black. Okay, so this is the pseudo class selectors. Okay, now let's go to the next topic, that is the pseudo element selector. Now what is a pseudo element selector? Pseudo element is used to style specified parts of an element. Okay? When it is a specified parts, that means basically it means dealing with a specified part of the content. So over here the specified part can be also said as the first letter, first line, or and just an element, or inserting content before or after, or content of an element, something like that. Basically dealing with some or the other part or basic or small part of the content. So now let's see some example for this. So I have just told, right, first letter, first line. So we'll see an example for that first. Okay, so first letter, when you hear this first letter, you are hearing it right. The first letter means the first letter in the web page. So let me see. So this T is the first letter. Okay, now I'll give some styling to it, and please note here, in the pseudo class selectors we just give one colon, right? Now in the pseudo element selector we'll give two colons. Okay, so this color red and font size as this is para. So the sort of default one, that is of a black color, right? So that's it. So when I told first letter, it gave it for the first letter. Now we can even do like this for the first line. Okay, so in place of okay, now let's run this. First line is given the styling property or CSS property, which is under the style tag. In the similar way, you can even do it for before, after selection, and there's many more properties like that. Okay, please do try it. Okay. Now let's go to the the next one and the last one, that is the attribute selectors. Okay, in this attribute selector, it is possible to style HTML elements that have specific attributes or attributes value. So as specific attributes or attributes value, the CSS attribute, the word here, okay, the CSS attribute selector is used to select element with a specific attribute, as I have told you before. So for this, let's see some examples. Okay, now let's take just get rid of it. I'll have an anchor tab, https www.google.com. okay, and I'm going to just write this as click me. Okay, so now I'm going to give some attribute selector properties. Okay, so let's or A, and in the box bracket I will write some keyword. Okay, so now let me search for the attribute. Okay, this is the attribute which I am searching for. So basically the attribute selector searches for the attribute present or not. If the attribute is present inside the anchor tag, then it will give the properties which is given here. Now it's just in white background because there's no attribute keyword. So once I give it, target is equals to underscore blank. Okay, now let's run this. See what it means, right? This is what it is needed actually. Okay, so now let's even take some other examples. Now as I told, this is for attribute, there are even some attribute values. Okay, this it will be equals to the value. I'm so sorry, this will not close here. Okay, so now what will be happening here? In this, the selector is used to select elements with a specified attribute and the value as well. So now here, when we saw an example, we didn't mention anything for this blank. We just wanted this target to be present. If there is n number of anchor tag and n number of targets, all the targets will be given that, right? But now in this attribute and target, what will happen is we are searching for such a thing which will have the attribute as well as the value both specified. Okay, so now here I just give a target, right? So now I'll give like this is equals to the value that is have some other also. Okay, so let me give it as cell. Okay. So now the background color will be yellow for only this, okay, and not for this. Let's run this. Okay, I think it's blank. Okay, the difference, but there we were just searching for the attribute, but here the attribute as well as the value. Okay, now there's another also, that is attribute. The syntax will be like this. And not tilde sign is equals to the value. Okay. Now what will be happening over here? This selector is used to select elements with an attribute value containing a specified word. Okay, now it's mostly the same, but the only difference is here it will search for the word. Now first it search for the tag and then both, and now here the main concept is the word. So here I will write something like, let's give some ID. Okay, so just copy paste this. I'll give a ID over here. ID is equals to, let me give it as attribute or attri. Okay, now I'll write and in this box I'll write, sorry, ID is equals to attri. Okay, now it will search for both the attri as well as the ID. Okay, now let's save and run this. For that I'll write some property also. This is the basic three things which you are supposed to know. Okay, please don't forget these three things. Okay, so these here we have done with the selectors. The first one is the simple, then the combinator, and then the pseudo class, and then the pseudo elements, and then the last one was the attribute selectors. Okay, so in simple it is of 5, and again in a combinator it is of 4, and I told class states it's for special state of an element, defining a special state. Here it defines a specified part of an element. Here the specific attributes or attributes value are used to make the selection. Okay.